the other presenters?
Yeah, we're talking about coming up with some public boards for people.
Brian won't let me reveal the affiliate board, but I look at it every day. I think it's pretty cool.
I'll let you reveal part of it, Frank.
Okay. I think it's cool though. I wrote for our affiliates, Todd, like the commission, they compete against each other. So you guys are all the top producers in the entire country. So how good can you refer Sisu?
I'm warming up, man. I'm just letting people get a running start, just so I'm stretching out right now. Now I'm on the Sisu page, so I'm ready to hit share.
Okay, give me just a sec. I'm setting this up.
No pressure. I gotta find my camera again.
Did you start it on the Sisu page, Zach?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay, I'll share it to the mastermind group for you.
Okay.
Do you want me to share it on the page that we got access today? That was a joke, but it would be cool.
What just happened to Brian's video?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Okay, I am going to I'm going to broadcast it. So let's see. All right, ready? We're going to broadcast.
Hey everybody, we're going to give you just a few minutes for a few more people to join and we'll get started. Looks like we have people coming in, so we'll just give everybody a few minutes and we'll get started here. So thanks for joining everybody. I'm Brian Charlesworth. I'm the founder and CEO of Sisu. Sisu is founded specifically to be in the real estate business to help people be more effective with their business, and we're going to talk about some of the ways that we can do that today. I have Todd with me here today. Todd's the founder of the Crockett Team, or at least runs the Crockett Team. And I also have Michael with APINation.
Thanks for joining.
And APINation is really focused on the real estate integrations of bringing all these different ancillary technologies together in just an easy way so that it's simple for you guys to choose to use any platforms you want within the industry. So to get started here today, I wanted to jump in and first just talk about something that Todd shared with us not long ago, which is about the red zone. I've never heard anybody really relate real estate like football, but Todd did that for me recently. And basically, Todd, share with us what that means for you, this whole red zone thing and taking your leads from the red zone to the end zone.
Absolutely. And I'll share that and where it started with, essentially, with the Crockett Team. I'm working with the Crockett Team. I work with my family, Dave and Judy. We've been a team 25 years now, and I not only work with my family, I still like them, so it's possible. You can have that there. One thing is with the Crockett Team, we were blessed to be interviewed by Howard Britton and become one of Howard Britton's stars in 1994. So we're involved in his training, which he had Star Power University, which he trained some of the top minds, top agents throughout the country. And most of the trainers that you'll see here are just like have football coaches, have a line like Bill Belichick has a tree of coaches. Howard Britton has a tree of coaches that trickle down and really influence the industry. But one thing we did back in the archaic paper days is when you got down to your clients of who your top 5 clients are that you expect to buy a house for you with you in the next 30 days, write down their names, write down what price range they're in, indicate in that price range what commission you would be getting, essentially percentage-wise, calculate your commission. So you look and say, okay, on these 5 buyers that I know are ready to buy, as long as they're buying with me, I provide that value, here's the revenue I will earn off of these 5 sales. So you have that visible, because now these are what we would consider, they're in the red zone. These are people that are looking to buy. The only way you lose that opportunity if you literally turn them over to a competitor. So it's like you fumble the ball in the red zone, or if it's a basketball playoff game, you threw it out of bounds or threw it to the competitor, you turn them over. Now the competitor scores, puts them on the scoreboard, and normally they'll see in any competition, they'll say the winning team, a lot of times, it's on turnovers. Did you turn it over? So now we have the ability to say, okay, let's just focus on that with our clients. When they're in the red zone, when they're ready to go, can you make sure that you're properly following up with them? Because you do so much work with the internet leads and qualifying and nurturing them and showing them properties, and then you fumble it? Come on, man, it's just painful. And so that's what we really focused on. And then I was delighted when we found out ultimately, because we're Boomtown users, we love Boomtown, that's our platform, it's our CRM. We use Boomtown not only to generate leads, but to incubate leads. So we're putting all of our leads in there. So
typically, Todd, with the CRM like that, people they're tracking their leads. They know who's hot. They get to a point where they're like, hey, I think I can get this customer signed, or what's going to take it to the next level, and how are you going to get them from the red zone to closed or to the end zone, right?
You guys, so ultimately it comes down to that. So quick thing over on like Boomtown or different, you're normally going to have categories with clients. So with Boomtown, for example, they've got the new category. You put them in new. Then you want to move them quickly over to a qualify category. Then you're going to have them either nurture, watch, or if it's some offensive name that registered, you put them in trash because you know they're not buying a house. But then we get to the people that you've got, they're qualified, they're looking. Now they become hot. So there's a hot category. Hot is just like a hot date. You can't say you have a hot date like, hey, I've got a hot date with Lisa if and when she'll go out with me. She hasn't said yes. A hot date means you know the date. There is a date. There's a commitment. There's an appointment to meet with them. Then you put them in the hot category. Well, the beautiful thing now with APINation and the integration with Sisu, when you put them in your Boomtown hot category, it loads all of their pertinent information into your Sisu pipeline. So now I have all of the contact information for these people in my pipeline, right at my fingertips. So it makes sure they don't slip through the cracks. I forget about them. I get busy. I turn it over to a competitor. That just puts them right, easy access, so you don't forget about them. So that integration makes it easy to capitalize and score in the red zone instead of turning it over. Okay,
in a second I want to talk about, so APINation, how does that take it from one technology platform to the other? Tell us first, why do you want to take that data from Boomtown into Sisu? What happens with the data at that point?
Well, Sisu allows us to have a better visual of what's going on because we use Sisu. We started essentially with Sisu because I thought it was phenomenal to have different leaderboards and scoreboards. We have everything different, wipe-off boards and kind of archaic information. So for us, the first thing was it's wonderful. When we started at the end of last year with Sisu, we just put in our numbers so we could compare. We preloaded our numbers in for our agents the prior year, so you can say, okay, what did you sell in 2017? We loaded 2018 in and finished that year off, so they could see on the leaderboard who did what with closed volume, closed units, and so we had that information. So that got the team into it from that competitive aspect. But now it's the point of doing the same thing with the activities that get you sales. So there's the accountability aspect, and then there's the accounting. So the accounting is the numbers that already are going to calculate because you did those deals. Then there's the accountability of activities that you want to have done in there. So Sisu allows me to do one thing, for example, that I couldn't really track in Boomtown, and that is adding leads to Boomtown. We look at Boomtown, or whatever your CRM system is, it is a data bank. If you want to make withdrawals, you need to make deposits. Deposit means entering them into Boomtown, entering a lead into Boomtown. So that's really what it comes down to. Are you depositing people into your data bank? So we ran a contest that we ran, which was halfway through March and then into April, and we had different categories in that contest, one of which was leads added into Boomtown. And what they say is what you focus on and what you measure will grow. So I have here for just, this is in a 6-week time frame, our agents here added to Boomtown, added leads to the data bank. Nina had 94, Jennifer 82, Monique 63, Aaron 65, Tina 58, Nicole 56, Kathy 54, Shannon 45. So those are strong entries of adding people into your database. I can assure you prior to that contest, prior to our tracking, those numbers were a fraction of that. Because most people look at, they're waiting for a lead generation. They'll give me, hopefully the system's going to drop them leads. We're on the lead incubation. Put in people, anybody, whether it's your neighbor, you're going to put on an e-alert so they know what's going on. Is it somebody that at an open house that you put in? So all of those activities we track, such as open houses. We track handwritten thank you cards, along with the prospecting things. So that's what Sisu allows us to do, to have that, and then have the other agents see each other. So it's one thing to do it. It's another one to see, like, okay, you think good about yourself. Like, yeah, I put in 32 people. That's more than I've ever done. And you're like, holy Jesus, Nina put 94? I'm like, I got to step up. Who else in my neighborhood? Let me go the next neighborhood over and put in that surrounding neighborhood. So it just makes it visual of what's possible. And I think when people realize what's possible, they stretch. And there's a story about anybody. You guys know who Roger Bannister is? Oh, then I'll tell you. So Roger Bannister is the first man ever to run a 4-minute mile. And they used to say it was impossible. But after Roger Bannister ran a 4-minute mile, there was a whole bunch of people that ran a 4-minute mile. Because once you see what's feasible, you see what other people can do. And I think it's the same in real estate industry. When you see like a team sold 200 homes and you're like, holy smokes, and you think you're doing good and you sold 400, and then you look over and I find a team that sold 700 and you're like, okay, we could do that. So it's just a matter of sharing knowledge. How do you pull the best ideas and continually improve upon them? And so we're excited because we've got strengths in our areas, which is sales training, culture, leading people by example. What we needed help was kind of taking the data and be able to present it quicker, more efficiently, utilizing the data so that we can empower our agents. And I think anytime you give your agent a point of differentiation in today's marketplace.
So I think what you're saying, a lot of that is mindset, right? I mean, going back to the 4-minute mile, my recollection of that is that it took about a week after somebody finally achieved that for somebody else to achieve that, because now all of a sudden everyone knows it can be done. And you've basically done that same thing with your real estate team, in that it used to be you were doing this kind of stuff on spreadsheets, on whiteboards, and now everyone has access to everything at their fingertips all the time. So another thing I wanted to hit on, Michael, I wanted to just give you an opportunity to share with everyone a little bit more about APINation. You guys have worked with Todd to bring all of his Boomtown information into Sisu. And that, obviously that's important for people within this industry to have their platforms communicate, because so many people, I mean, having worked in this industry now for 5 years, I've seen so many people that are like, as long as I don't have to have duplicate data entry, right? Everybody wants to eliminate that. Tell us how you started APINation, exactly what you guys do.
Yeah, for sure. So what the way we view the world, right? There's the number of applications that are building out amazing functionality, amazing features, helping people be more productive, helping them make more money is increasing. I mean, if you just hear what just Todd said, right? There's used to be whiteboard, used to be spreadsheet. Now we have an application for this. We use Boomtown as our CRM. We got tons of lead sources, from door knocking to buying leads online. We have, the real estate industry has been surrounded by hundreds of amazing applications, each one doing something specific, something unique, and helping the real estate agent be more productive. And what we saw as an opportunity is, well, this is great. Sisu is amazing. It has wonderful dashboards. How do we help guys like Todd get in there and bring all their data in between all these various applications? And that's where APINation comes in. So what we do, while we don't build amazing dashboard applications or CRM systems or marketing automation systems out there. We bring all these fantastic tools together, and we help get that extra 20, 30% out of them. That promise of productivity, that you get the app, and you're gonna make more money. You're gonna go from 400 homes, you're gonna go to 600 homes. What we do is we help deliver on that promise by bridging all this together. You're right. If you got this new app, and then you're gonna spend an extra $20,000 a year doing data entry, then whatever you just gained in productivity, you just lost, right? In somewhere else. So this is our point of making sure that you're actually getting what it is that you're trying to achieve, right? Get that extra mile, get that extra 20% of productivity, the results that you're aiming for. Does that make sense, Brian?
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. So, Todd, you have 20 agents. You did 522 transactions, I believe, last year. This year, your focus is to get that to 600. So how does having these technologies and these efficiencies help you get there? And with 20 agents, how do you get them to actually track data? What I've seen is the larger somebody is, brokerages are always like, it's so hard for me to get my agents to do that. Larger teams, it's harder. You get to 10 or less, it's pretty easy, right? As long as you're leading your team. So tell us how you're going to drive your team forward to 600 transactions utilizing these technologies.
Yeah, I think one thing is making sure you're utilizing the tools that you have to the best capacity. So we were an early Boomtown adopter a decade ago. And at that point, it was more of a buyer platform. So we had to evolve. We had old leads in there. So one thing we did is we got a Boomtown peer coach, Chris Jones, who just helped us clean up our systems and clarify what categories we're going to have. So we did that, and so that made it a little bit smoother in Boomtown, where you're following up on an opportunity wall, make sure you're not missing opportunities. Then came down to the gamification aspect. You're like, if we could give real-time data, and essentially there's, all of our agents do activities, but like, can you imagine? People love HQ trivia because at 9 o'clock they get pinged and they have to answer trivia questions, and they may make a little bit of money. Well, at 8 p.m., our agents get pinged with their Sisu app, and they have to enter the activities. I made this many contacts, handwritten notes. I exercise. I did these type of things. So you would track that on a daily basis. So you have all of those items that keep your agents accountable, help them see each other, because they do better with teamwork. Because what you'll find out is people work harder to not let their team down than they will individually for themselves. So now you like Boomtown, that's working great. You like Sisu, and now you want to have like a smooth integration with Sisu and Boomtown. So there you get APINation. So now you've got everything, and you say, okay, I want to have things in Boomtown that I can track and measure. Well, you can do that now with the Sisu integration. You can pull things up, see who's in the hot category, see where they're at, and it just makes it more competitive. It makes it fun. It literally, people will do things more to show up on the leaderboard, where they rank, how they're doing compared to their competitors. And I think it's more as we're onboarding the younger generations, that's right now what they grow up with. I mean, sometimes I can't get my son up from the basement because he's playing Fortnite and he needs to win another token or trophy before he'll come up. So it's a serotonin shot and spike to him. Well, it's the same thing with our agents, tracking the activity. And then what it is then you get momentum. The idea is, what happens is you want to make sure that you have momentum so that you're continually improving upon it. You can't ever have a breaking the chain. They'll talk about the activities. You want to make sure you have consistency, where it's like working out. Say, for example, you're working out. If every single day you make a loop like a chain, you connect those. They're all connected. They're connected. Well, if the next day, maybe you miss one day. Well, don't let it go 2 days. Don't ever let a break be more than 1 day, because once 2 days, you're out of a habit. Once you're out of a habit, in 2 days, then all of a sudden you're like, 3 days, and all of a sudden, I've been there. Well, I'm either consistently working out, and if I'm doing that, I feel bad if I miss a day. If I'm not training, I don't even care. And that's kind of it. I think if people are out of tracking their activities, I don't even care. If you're in the habit, then you don't want to miss a day. Maybe one day there's something happened, but you never miss two, because then it's going to take you down another line. And you're just finding people happier, they're more fulfilled in their career, they're more in control of their activities. It allows them to prioritize dollar productive activities. And I get a kudos out to Jennifer on our team. I realized we practice our certain scripts. We've got technology that we do that with, and I can see if somebody practiced a presentation, and she practiced certain dialogue 52 times over 10 sessions. So she's comfortable with that. So when she gets into a situation, she knows she can deliver. And the point being is, she said, the reason I get my practice training in is I schedule it in the morning. Because we always know, people said, I don't have time for that. You always have time for what you put first. We always have time for what we put first. If it was important to you, you put that at the beginning of your schedule. So I encourage our team, you literally need to schedule time to practice, whether it's practice on your presentation, practice on, whether it be on technology of understanding Boomtown. You have to literally block it as an appointment, email it to yourself in a schedule, and do that. But when you do that, you're more fulfilled. Otherwise, you're scrambled. So you really have a choice of fulfilled or scrambled. It is up to you to control your activities. If not, you'll get pulled in a lot of unproductive directions.
So Todd, how do you have them report out? If they're all tracking, how often are they reporting out so you don't get someone who misses 2 days or a week even? Because it's so easy, especially for those independent agents, to miss a month, right? So
it is. So the one thing we just had is our contest. We had I'll tell you a couple different things to answer a couple questions. So before,
yeah, give us some examples of some of the stuff you're doing.
So before Sisu, this is my flash of brilliance. This is my technical level. It's a whiteboard, but what it did do, it allows us to see homes sold and listed. So what it did, this is just May, so we just started this one, but it lets us know for April, we listed 22 houses. May of last year, we listed 36. We had for April this year, we had sold 34 homes. We actually took a step back, so we have to improve upon that. Last May, we sold 62. So that would kind of let us see where we were month over month, year after year. Now we can just see a lot more real-time data. The intent is, it's easy to track listings and sales, but what you want to do is be able to track the activities that result in listings and sales. So really get your people to put them into, adding your leads to the database. That's the biggest thing. Doing the open house, sending handwritten cards, tracking those type of things just increase your activities. So now this is essentially, we're excited about this integration because it really further systematizes things that we were doing manually. And we talk about, I know one of the questions you ask as far as, were you doing things before in spreadsheets? Yeah, it's spreadsheets. And you might as well say spread thin on time, spread all over my desk, trying to pull this data. Normally I'm interrupting our closing coordinator who's trying to do a transaction because I'm pulling data to try and answer something or figure out where we're at. Well, now it just becomes real time. It becomes the agents entering into it. But it comes down to now us continually coaching our agents up and consistently stepping into it. So at the beginning of the meeting, verifying that they're pulling up the scoreboard, who's doing these activities. And just a reminder, it's building the habit because we ultimately, team-wise, we restructured where we improved what we do internally with Dot Loop so we're smoother in our transaction time to process. And now we're spending more time on our Sisu integration and improving the tracking numbers. If you're not efficient, you fall further behind in the tracking game. We never really we didn't have the data we wanted to because we were too busy putting out fires. So we set up fire prevention systems. And so we're really excited. We're kind of, full transparency. We're toeing the water right now with the integration of Sisu and APINation, hooking together our Boomtown platform, but we can see where this is going to take us, and we look forward to updating the industry on this, of where we are on monthly updates, letting you know the progress, because we can see how quickly we can get our team up to speed on things.
Great. I don't have your numbers in front, or I'm not logged into your account, so I'm going to just share real quick how you can now show those numbers. Instead of looking at those papers, basically you're seeing your year-over-year monthly production. And obviously your monthly production is way larger than this. But this just gives you a view of your monthly data units sold year-over-year for the last 3 years. and this would be the same thing showing your volume. So just a completely different way. This is real time all the time versus what you've been doing for the last however probably dozen years. So tell us as far as what is the value of really Boomtown and Sisu working together instead of you having to have separate data there?
Yeah, I think for us, the items that we're excited about is really the red zone is where where games are won and lost. So the biggest thing for us is be able to immediately have it where it's the pipeline for the agents, because it's one thing to say I've got these top 5 buyers are going to buy houses. It's another thing when you see their names, see the numbers, and be like, okay, if I help Joe and Nancy Miranda buy this house, then it's going to be $72,085 towards me. I'm going to make sure I don't lose, they don't slip through the cracks. So it really comes down to real estate is designed to fund our lives, not be our lives. And that's what it comes down to. It's designed so that you spend more time with your family. You can go on those vacations. You can enjoy those date nights. You can enjoy those dinners. You can enjoy the quality of life you want, but it's by having a quality schedule. It allows you to know who to put in your schedule, who to prioritize. It really comes down, in this business, there's always endless opportunities to waste time. You have to say, here's my most dollar productive activities. Here who's going to buy or sell a house with me. Here's now I'm going to prospect. And it just keeps you on track with your activities, because if you have to go through and on your Sisu app, all of a sudden, 8 o'clock at night, it pings you, okay, enter your Sisu numbers. And you're like, handwritten cards. I'm like, I didn't write a handwritten card for 2 days. I better write some handwritten notes. I have to thank Stacy and Zach for that referral. And so you go through, and that's just a constant reminder. It's no different than our agents. When we had to restructure things, I sat and I listened to our closing coordinator, and she was overwhelmed because she was literally, people were throwing .loop files her that were incomplete, multiple files. It's literally like somebody throwing 10 files on your desk, and you have which ones have the contracts in it, which one has the actual phone numbers. And it was mind-boggling. So we streamlined everything with our agents, and the intent was, listen, if you're going to turn in a sale, we need 5 minutes of focus. 5 minutes of focus, because if you answer all the information properly, and we have a checklist of every addendum that should go with the contract, we have a contract details form that's going to have every fillable blank in a contract. So somebody doesn't have to read 6 pages when you really need 12 fill-in items. You could do that. So we set up systems, because we really feel if the agents aren't doing something, they're not making a conscious decision. Listen, I'm not going to be courteous. I'm not going to be courteous. What it is they lack that 5 minutes of concentration. Give me 5 minutes of concentration, we're going to be smoother and courteous. So what it does do, again, that concentration now becomes your back to activities. And then now you're wrapping up, what didn't I get done? Here's my visual checklist, and I literally on my phone have to put in leads added to Boomtown, leads added to Boomtown, thank you notes. And you're just swiping these things over, and now it's a real-time dashboard that everybody gets to see. It's cumulative on the team, and all you're doing is on your phone, swipe. You're just taking a swipe, swipe, swipe. Think of this. How many times are you just scrolling aimlessly on your phone? Facebook, just scrolling it, scrolling Twitter. I mean, people are going to have bionic thumbs. They're just scrolling. Well, what if you just swipe your activities, swipe your activities, swipe your activities? It's just changing habits. It's not some people don't intend to improve. You just need to change their habits so they have to improve. And that's what's fun, because then you make a game of it. It's kind of a sport. I should have warned you guys. Once I start presenting, I just start rolling. So,
so Todd, just to wrap up here. So there's a lot of advice you've given. Thank you so much. As far as we have a lot of people on the phone who I believe most of them are probably Boomtown users. So if somebody's on Boomtown, what advice would you have to give them to really take their business and take it to the next level with competitions, challenges? How would you best do that? I mean, what are some first steps you could do to really make that happen in their business?
First thing I would do is anything that you do, you turn into a contest with your team. And actually, Sisu has challenges that you can set up, and you can categorize certain items that you want to track. So you can set up a challenge and for your team. First thing I would do, I would integrate with Sisu, and I would set up a challenge of leads entered into Boomtown for May. So all of your agents track who can have the most leads added into your data bank of Boomtown in the month of May. Just start with that, because that's going to be your biggest difference maker, because it changes a mindset. You have to have the habit of, I'm going to compete every month with how many people I'm going to add to the data bank, and then set up e-alerts for them. But that's the first step I would do as a Boomtown user.
So is that what you did, is just started with one competition, and how many competitions do you have currently running this month?
We did, when we first started, we did the two things. So there's November. So we did the added to the database, and we did the thank you cards. I've got thank you card handwritten notes numbers that are like crazy. I've got numbers, I have to pull them up there in like the 200 plus data for the thank you cards. Just getting in that habit. So we then set up another activity contest. We're always running promotions, and we have the contests where we break them into team contests that it may be 2 to 3 members on the team that would compete for something. So on this last contest, there were 4 teams on here. So we had 4 teams of 4 different users. This one just ended up at the end of the month. So we then have the top team prizes. So and then the team is going over to one of those escape rooms. You guys been to an escape room yet? Any of you guys?
Yeah. I've been there, yep.
All right, so we've got 4 teams, and the top team gets $400, so $100 a piece. Team 2 gets $300. The third place team gets $200, and the last place team gets roofied. And we're just going to roofie them and send them in the escape room and let them figure their way out. So we find that's kind of fun for the team. So those type of activities, you make it fun for them. And so we always have contests going on, but the intent is have the contest not just on sales and listing activities, but the activities that have resulted in it, whether it's open houses, thank you cards, people added to the database, contacts, hours prospected. And I know our next webinar we'll talk about, I know there's a lead track. There's ultimately lead tracking capacity, that integration with APINation. There's call tracking capacity we're excited to launch with APINation and Sisu, so we can really see who's prospecting, because our top agents now they're the top prospecting agents. We had to shift. We brought on people that were really servicing buyers as buyers agents. Our mind shift is we're bringing people in that are prospecting agents. So if you're coming on the Crockett team, you're coming in to prospect 2 hours a day, and you're going to get that aspect on. You're coming in as a prospecting agent. That's the mindset you need to have, whether you're calling Boomtown leads, you're calling your sphere, you're calling around open houses, calling around neighborhoods. You have to get comfortable. We have them practice their scripts on train launch, get comfortable making the calls, and then we train them on how to understand how to pull market data, because we really feel whoever has the most competent, you speak with confidence, and whoever has the most certainty has the most influence. So a matter of just know your craft, master your craft, know your numbers, and have fun. Make it a game. This is a sport. It really is. If you turn it into a sport and a game, you just have fun with it. So have fun with the competitive team culture. Any questions that you guys have on APINation or Sisu or Boomtown integration, shoot me a Facebook message or text me, email me. We'll get back to you. I look forward to helping any way I can.
Todd, Michael, thank you guys both so much. Todd, we're going to keep track, and we're going to watch you get to that 600 this year. So
awesome.
Plan on us getting back together, because we
want to.
Hey,
Brian, just wanted to pipe in. I'm like the guy behind the curtain on Wizard of Oz running the show here. We had a couple questions earlier. Carrie wanted to ask you, Todd, how have you been able to correlate an ROI on your investment in Sisu?
Well, that's a good question, because what it's going to have, and I was just mentioning things that they have on it, we do a lot of boosted posts in Facebook. So what we'll be able to then do is be able to have an ad tracking component with that, so we can see what is a Facebook ad post, and then we can track sales compared to our Facebook budget, and then look at our return on investment. So it allows us to track the lead source and do it that way, so we can see in a different component. And that we previously, it was feasible. We just never had the time because we were spreadsheet thinned. We never got it done. Now we get it done.
I'm going to drop, there's a blog a little bit more on the lead source ROI tracking. I'm going to drop that in the chat. So that's a really good one to read. Yeah, great answer. Hopefully carry that.
Yeah, I got a question too. I want to see it. I want to know if people can see just how much, how many product placement I have in for Boomtown here. So you guys got to keep track here. All right, see. That way they'll keep sending me stuff.
Todd, there's a few other questions here. If you've got a few more minutes.
Yeah, I got my
Boomtown
Boomtown socks on, man. Head to toe.
Love it.
I sell out big.
One of the other questions, I'm not seeing any other questions. I just see one more. Michael, people asking, they want to know a little bit more about APINation. If you could just give a little background.
Well, the APINation is the kind of the middle glue that holds these amazing applications together. So when a sales rep enters the lead and Todd over there is watching his scoreboard, he doesn't want to wait 3 days for the scoreboard to change that somebody is winning over there. So what we do is we take Boomtown, we plug in Sisu, all kinds of real estate related applications together and kind of make them hum along in harmony. Because the last thing you want to be doing is running a contest and then waiting for that scoreboard. We scored. When is this going to change? I got 3 leads in. I'm still in the 5th place. Why is that? And because things are just not being entered in from one system to another. You know, the admin is out. She's going to get back from lunch. She's going to put my numbers into the spreadsheet, update that little whiteboard. Now you want real time. You want that motivation to happen. You want to see yourself plugging in that lead, and all of a sudden you're up one place on that letterboard. And this is what APINation does. It puts these technologies together by bridging every possible real estate applications and making them hum along. Hopefully I've answered that question.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. I've heard a lot of people refer to you guys as the Zapier of real estate. One of the biggest differences I've seen, though, is Zapier actually requires the company to do the work, where you guys actually do the work. So.
Correct. The real estate agents, they love the end result, not to spend 5 hours trying to figure out how to build this technology and how to connect it all together. What they want to do, come in, click a button, they're done. And so that's the experience that APINation is trying to deliver, right? We want a regular person, not a technologist, not somebody with a computer science degree, just a regular person. Come in, click a button, like Todd says, swipe, right? You click, you're done. It's connected, it's up and running, it's humming along.
So we have another question here. Is Boomtown and Sisu fully integrated? I know kinks are always there at the beginning. Are the prospecting activities integrated? How do the transactions integrate? So really trying to figure out how that works. I'll let you go ahead and address that, and then maybe I can add to it, or Todd.
Yeah. So anytime you take 2 systems together and you look at that and you go, okay, Boomtown, it has so much functionality in it, and here's Sisu, it has so much functionality in it. How do we bridge this together? Do we wait and spend a year integrating it and then release something? Or do we get the most needed things out there and then continue improving and improving and improving? We release updates and new things every single week. So it's a moving target. Whatever it is you have today, you can be 100% sure that a month from now it's going to be better. There's going to be new functionality and more integration, and the expansion is going to continue to happen. So the answer to this question, what it does right now, it powers up teams like Todd. It connects the leads together. It lets you integrate a lot of data. But a month from now, it's going to do 10x.
Yeah. So I know. I mean, it started with pulling the lead from hot in the CRM and putting it into Sisu as a pipeline, and then we track it in Sisu from pipeline to under contract to signed under contract and closed. And then I know I think the question is more around some of the things like, does it track if I'm doing activities, making contacts and things like that? And I know it does, and it continues to get more robust. So if anyone wants to see that, you can certainly jump on, schedule a demo with Zach, and he can walk you through that in detail.
And the only thing I know about the kinks is that my favorite kink song is "You Really Got Me." That's what I've experienced.
Yeah.
You want to sing that, Todd?
Yeah, Todd. Are you
But I will sing. I see you, baby, shaking that cash. That's my favorite one.
Okay, I dropped a link in the chat to schedule a demo if you want to take a little closer look. One more question.
And anybody, really quick, if anybody's in the Cleveland marketplace and you're a realtor, please disregard everything you've heard. None of this works.
Natalie, you had a question about if you're running multiple different platforms. Chat with me, schedule a demo with me. I'll walk you through it. Depending on what those platforms are, they may be integrated differently. Every company has different policies as far as integration goes. We're about as open as it gets. Boomtown has really good policies. They've allowed a lot of data to flow out of their system. So set something up and chat with me. And the other thing is that I wanted to mention, we almost never give out discounts for Sisu, but we do on the webinars. So anyone attending right now, there's a limited time coupon. It's a red zone, all caps, no spaces. That will give you 20% off your lifetime subscription to Sisu. So go in there, hop it out, free trial, no risk, no commitment. Just give it a look. And if you still have more questions, schedule a demo. Anything else, Brian, before we wrap this thing up?
No, thanks everyone. Michael, Todd, thank you so much.
You guys rock. That was fun.
Until next time, my friends.
We'll see ya.
Take care.
Bye.